Expand your vocabulary with our core 2,000 words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Japanese ebook before it's gone. Most people who learn a foreign language learn it so that they can one day have real-life conversations with native speakers. When you start out learning and crack open your first textbook or listen to your first podcast, having a real conversation can feel like a fantasy. When everything about a language feels new, it can be overwhelming. But this couldn't be further from the truth. While it does take a significant amount of time and effort to become fluent, having a conversation might not be as far off as you think. In this video, we'll look at 3 ways you can boost your conversational skills and start talking to native speakers. Number 1. Find native speakers and practice with them. It's unlikely you live near a big group of native speakers to practice with. If you happen to be in a major or international city, your chances may be better. Check and see if your city has a general language exchange. Chances are there could be a native speaker there who is also trying to learn another language. Practicing in person with a native speaker is probably the most interesting option for honing your speaking skills. But if you can't find anyone where you live, the next best option is to look online. Luckily for language learners, the past 10 years or so have seen an explosion in online language exchange sites. On these websites, you can search for someone who is a native speaker of your target language and is also learning your native language. The idea behind a language exchange is that you communicate with them via video or text chat, and half of the time, they help you practice your target language. And for the other half, you help them practice theirs. Practicing via an online language exchange is a highly effective way to practice your conversational skills. Number 2. Work on pronunciation. Pronunciation is often an overlooked skill when it comes to learning a foreign language. Most people think of a good foreign accent as a luxury rather than a necessity. But what most people don't talk about is how having a good accent boosts your listening and comprehension skills. If you can hear a sound from a foreign language and know how to make it yourself, then you're more likely to understand native speakers when they talk at normal speed, and you're also more likely to remember any new words or phrases you come across. Having a good accent means that the language no longer sounds foreign. Instead, it sounds familiar, maybe even natural. So how do you go about perfecting your accent? The best way is to break down the language into its individual sounds. Make note of any sounds that are the same or similar to your native language and of those that are different. Of the sounds that are different, spend your time practicing the ones that you find the hardest to say correctly. After you're comfortable with the individual sounds, you can start linking together words and phrases. This is where accent practice starts to get really fun and interesting. Get your hands on some native speaker audio from a TV show, song, or podcast. Play the audio back and listen closely a few times. Take note of how words blend together in speech. Then, do your best to imitate what you hear, trying to match the speaker's emphasis and intonation. Our language learning program's playback feature is perfect for this. Record yourself and compare it to the original recording. Rinse and repeat until you're comfortable with the audio selection, and then move on to something more difficult. This is how you can break through the accent barrier and really start to make the language your own. Number 3. Learn phrases, not just individual words. Learning grammar and individual words is great, but it's not the only approach you should take if you want to speak fluently. In addition to your regular grammar and vocabulary, try learning whole phrases, even if you aren't totally sure how they work grammatically. Learn phrases that are specific to your needs. It's a good idea to learn phrases that are grouped around a certain setting or subject, such as simple greetings or introductions, questions for getting to know someone, or traveling comfortably. You can even learn filler phrases, which you can use so that you have something to say when, well, you don't know what to say. Learning phrases like this will help you become conversational faster. You may not understand what you're saying literally, but as long as you know the general meaning behind the phrase and know when to use it, you'll be able to talk like a native. Eventually, your knowledge of grammar and vocabulary should catch up with the phrases you know. Learning a new language should feel like an adventure. There will be plateaus and periods in your learning where it feels like you're hitting a wall, but being able to speak with native speakers and have real conversations will help you combat language fatigue. After all, talking to someone face-to-face in a foreign language is one of the main reasons we start learning in the first place. And for even more ways to gain conversation skills, check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Imagine you're on a packed train in Tokyo. You want to get off, but can barely move. What do you say? こんにちは、Lisa です。Lisa here. Anyone can learn how to ride a train in Tokyo. In this lesson, you learn how. Ben is on his way to his friend Taichi's house. Let's watch.
どうぞ。
ありがとうございます。
次は新宿。
すみません。降ります。
Now, the lesson focus. Here's how to ride a train in Japan.
Pregnant women often wear a maternity badge like this when they commute by train in Japan. This badge is given to pregnant women at stations or local city offices for free. They can easily show that they are pregnant and get preferential treatment. So, when you see a woman wearing the maternity badge, you might want to offer her a seat, like Ben did in this video.
どうぞ。
If you're ready to get off the train, but there are a lot of people between you and the door, you would say,
すみません。降ります。
Then other passengers will try to make space for you to get out. People standing near the door often get off for a moment and wait outside the train. On the other hand, if you are the one standing near the door of a crowded train, be sure to step onto the platform when the doors are open so the people behind you can get out. There are a few more manners you might want to know about when you get on a crowded train. The first one is to hold your backpack in front of you so you can control it more easily. The next one is to be careful of your headphone volume. You don't want to bother other people around you with the noise from your headphones. The last one is for men only. Be aware of women-only cars. Some trains have women-only cars during rush hours. The women-only cars should have stickers like this and are usually at one end of the train. Accidentally getting on a women-only car is one of the most common and embarrassing mistakes foreign men make.
Imagine you're going through passport control and you have to answer important questions in Japanese. What will you say? こんにちは、Lisa です。Lisa here. Navigating the passport desk in Japanese is easy. In this lesson, you're going to learn how. Mark's plane just arrived in Japan. Let's watch.
次の人、どうぞ。パスポートお願いします。
こんにちは。はい、どうぞ。
滞在期間は
6週間です。
ホテルはどこですか？
富士ホテルです。
仕事ですか？観光ですか？
仕事です。
はい。パスポート、ありがとうございました。
Now, the lesson focus. Here's how to navigate passport control. Ready?
Do you remember what the first question the immigration officer asked Mark in the video was?
滞在期間は？
First is a word meaning length of stay.
滞在期間。たいざいきかん。滞在期間
Next is the topic marking particle.
は
Please note that you need to say this with a rising intonation in order to make it a question. A literal translation might be, the length of stay is? It's as if the immigration officer is leaving the second part of the sentence blank for you to fill it in with the length of your stay.
滞在期間は
One possible answer to this question is a sentence meaning something like, it's for 6 weeks.
6週間です。
First is a phrase meaning, for 6 weeks.
6週間。6週間。6週間
For 6 weeks. Add
です。
at the end to make it a complete sentence, meaning, it's for 6 weeks.
6週間です。
In this case, the pronoun it indicates the length of stay, but you don't have to say the Japanese word here. Just say
6週間です。
the sentence structure to answer the question,
滞在期間は
or how long is your stay, is number of weeks or days.
間です。
Imagine you're going to stay for 2 weeks. Answer the question.
滞在期間は2週間です。
Do you remember the second question the immigration officer asked Mark in the scene?
ホテルはどこですか？
First is the word for hotel.
ホテル。ホテル。ホテル
Next is the topic marking particle.
は
After this is the word for where.
どこ
Next is a linking verb, to be, which in this case means is.
です。
Last is the question marking particle.
か
Together, it's
ホテルはどこですか
where is your hotel? You can answer this question by saying your hotel name and
です。富士ホテルです。
a literal translation might be Fuji Hotel is, but it's the natural way of answering that you're staying at Fuji Hotel. The sentence structure to answer the question,
ホテルはどこですか
or where will you stay, is your hotel name.
です。
Imagine you will be staying at the Tokyo Hilton Hotel. Answer the question.
ホテルはどこですか東京ヒルトンホテルです。
Do you remember the third question the immigration officer asked Mark in the scene?
仕事ですか？観光ですか？
This question is about Mark's purpose of stay.
滞在目的。
First here is the word for stay.
滞在。たいざい。滞在。
Next is the word for purpose.
目的。目的。目的。
Together, they mean purpose of stay.
滞在目的。
So, an extended version of the immigration officer's question would be, is the purpose of your stay business or sightseeing?
滞在目的は仕事ですか観光ですか
First is a phrase meaning purpose of stay.
滞在目的
Next is the topic marking particle.
は
After this is the word for business.
仕事。仕事 仕事
Next is a linking verb, which in this case means is.
です
And last is the question marking particle.
か
Together, this sentence means, is the purpose of your stay business?
滞在目的は仕事ですか
Or you can naturally translate it as, are you here on business? After this comes another question, meaning, is it sightseeing?
観光ですか
This uses the same pattern as the expression meaning, is it business?
仕事ですか
So the full sentence would be,
滞在目的は観光ですか
but the first part
滞在目的は
is dropped here. First is a word meaning sightseeing.
観光かんこう観光
In this pattern, it becomes,
観光ですか
is the purpose of stay sightseeing? Or more naturally in English, are you here for sightseeing? Also, note that between the two question sentences,
仕事ですか観光ですか
the conjunction or is not used.
仕事ですか観光ですか
Is the purpose of your stay business or sightseeing? Or are you here on business or for sightseeing? If your trip is for business, you would say,
仕事です
a literal translation of this would simply be, business is. But it's the natural way of saying, I'm here on business. Now you try. Imagine your trip is for sightseeing. Answer the question.
仕事ですか観光ですか観光です
An immigration officer might also say,
滞在目的は
meaning, the purpose of your stay is? It's the same structure as the first question.
滞在期間は
So, just as if you're filling in the second part of the sentence, you can answer by saying your purpose and
です
now you try. Imagine you're visiting Japan on business. Answer the question.
滞在目的は仕事です
Imagine, you're at the front desk of a hotel. How do you check in? こんにちは、リサです。Lisa here. Checking in at a hotel in Japanese is easy. In this lesson, you learn how. Mark just arrived at his hotel. Let's watch.
いらっしゃいませ。
こんにちは。チェックインをお願いします。マーク・タッガードです。
タッガード様、お名前の綴りをお願いします。
T-A-G-G-A-R-T。
ありがとうございます。はい、タッガード様ですね。こちらがお部屋の鍵でございます。
ホテルに売店はありますか？
いいえ、でも隣にコンビニがあります。
それから 部屋にシャンプーとコンディショナーはありますか？
はい、あります。
ありがとう。あ、それから7時にモーニングコールをお願いします。
かしこまりました。
朝食は何時からですか
1階、ダイニングルームで6時から7時半まででございます。
Now, the lesson focus. Here's how to check in at the hotel. Ready?
Do you remember how Mark told the hotel clerk that he wanted to check in?
チェックインをお願いします。
First is the word for check-in.
チェックイン、チェックイン、チェックイン、
Next is the object marking particle.
お、
After this is the word for please.
お願いします。
Together, it's
チェックインをお願いします。
check-in, please. Do you remember how to say passport, please?
パスポートお願いします。
These two expressions are very similar. The only difference is the object marking particle.
お、
which follows the word for check-in, but not the word for passport. Actually, you can use either expression with or without the object marking particle. So this sentence structure, which you can use to ask for something or to ask someone to do something for you, is something you want plus
お、お願いします。
or something you want plus.
お願いします。
Now you try. Ask your favorite singer for his autograph.
サイン、サインをお願いします。
Your autograph, please. Now ask a waiter to take an order
オーダー、
for you.
オーダーをお願いします。
Order, please. Do you remember in the scene how Mark requested a wake-up call?
モーニングコール、
He used a sentence structure that is almost identical to the one for checking in.
7時にモーニングコールをお願いします。
The latter part of the sentence, meaning a wake-up call, please, is
モーニングコールをお願いします。
and uses the same pattern as asking for a check-in. The phrase added at the beginning means at 7 o'clock.
7時に、
First is a phrase meaning 7 o'clock.
7時
After it is a particle marking time.
に、
It's equivalent to at in English. Together, the phrase meaning at 7 o'clock is
7時に、
placed at the beginning of the sentence. It's
7時にモーニングコールをお願いします。
a wake-up call at 7 o'clock, please. Now you try. Say, a wake-up call at 6 o'clock, please.
6時にモーニングコールをお願いします。
Do you remember how Mark asked the hotel clerk if there was a shop in the hotel?
ホテルに売店はありますか？
First is the word for hotel.
ホテル、
Next is a place marking particle, which is equivalent to in or at in English.
に、
After that is the word for shop.
売店、ばいてん、売店
Next is the topic marking particle.
は、
After this is the word for to be or to exist.
あります。あります。あります。
Last is the question marking particle.
か、
Together, it's
ホテルに売店はありますか？
literally, as for a shop, does it exist in the hotel? More naturally, this would be, is there a shop in the hotel? The sentence structure is place
に、
something
は、ありますか？
Is there something in or at place? It's important to note that the something here must be an inanimate object, like a chair, shop, or tire, because you can only use
あります
with inanimate objects. For people, animals, and other animate things, you'll need to use another word. Now you try. You want to ask if there's a gym in the hotel. Gym in Japanese is
ジムジムジム
ask if there's a gym in the hotel.
ホテルにジムはありますか
Now you want to know if there's a television in the room. Television is
テレビテレビテレビ
ask if there is a television in the room.
部屋にテレビはありますか
Do you remember how Mark asked what time breakfast is from?
朝食は何時からですか？
First, a non-question version of the sentence. Breakfast is from 6 o'clock is
朝食は6時からです
it starts with the word for breakfast.
朝食朝食朝食
Next is the topic marking particle.
は
After this is a phrase for 6 o'clock.
6時
Next is a word for from.
から
Last is the linking verb, in this case, is.
です
As for breakfast, it's from 6 o'clock. Naturally, breakfast is from 6 o'clock.
朝食は6時からです
Be careful, because the word order is different in English. From 6 o'clock would be,
6時から
in a word-for-word translation, it would be 6 o'clock from. Here's the phrase for from 7 o'clock.
7時から
Now, here's a phrase meaning from what time?
何時から何時から何時から
So, how do you ask, from what time is breakfast?
朝食は何時からですか
Just replace 6 o'clock
6時
with the phrase meaning what time?
何時
And add a question marking particle
か
at the end. Together, it's
朝食は何時からですか
what time is breakfast from? Or what time does breakfast start? The sentence structure is something
は何時からですか
What time is something from? Now you try. Ask what time check-in is from.
チェックインは何時からですか
What time is check-in from? Now you want to ask what time a certain movie starts. Movie is
映画映画映画
ask what time is this movie from?
この映画は何時からですか
What time is this movie from? How did the hotel clerk answer when Mark asked him what time breakfast was?
1階ダイニングルームで6時から7時半まででございます。
Usually, breakfast is available for a few hours, so the hotel clerk answered with the time frame that breakfast is available. How did he explain this time frame? It's from 6 o'clock to 7:30.
6時から7時半まででございます。
Here's a phrase meaning from 6 o'clock.
6時から
And here's a phrase for to 7:30.
7時半まで
Again, be careful about the word order. A word-for-word translation of
7時半まで
would be 7:30 to. Together, the phrase is
6時から7時半まで
from 6 o'clock to 7:30. So the phrase structure for time duration is time A,
から
time B,
まで
from A to B. Now you try. How do you say from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock?
3時から5時まで
Now how do you say from what time to what time?
何時から何時まで
Now ask from what time to what time breakfast is.
朝食は何時から何時までですか
Imagine, you want to buy tickets for a train to Tokyo. How do you do it? こんにちは、リサです。Lisa here. Buying train tickets in Japanese is easy. In this lesson, you learn how. Yoshi and Mark have come to meet Mark's family at the airport. Let's watch.
東京までの切符を5枚ください。
はい。大人5枚ですか？
子供料金は何歳までですか？
子供料金は10歳未満のお子様までです。10歳以上のお子様は大人料金です。
わかりました。サーシャは8歳ですよね。
はい。
そしてベンは10歳以上ですね。だから大人4枚と子供1枚。
はい。東京まで大人4枚、子供1枚ですね。合計1万円です。
よし、私が払います。
いいですよ。私が払います。
Now, the lesson focus. Here's how to buy tickets in Japan. Ready?
Do you remember how Yoshi asked for 5 tickets to Tokyo?
東京までの切符を5枚ください。
In a previous lesson, Mark said, 2 of these, please, when he was at a convenience store.
これを2個ください。
Here, Yoshi used the same sentence structure, the desired object, plus the object marking particle, o, plus the number of things you want, and
ください
now say you want 5 tickets. Ticket is
切符
5 tickets, please, then is
切符を5枚ください
instead of just tickets, though, Yoshi asked specifically for tickets to Tokyo. The phrase meaning ticket to Tokyo is
東京までの切符
first is Tokyo.
東京
Next is a particle describing the extent of motion, often translating to or up to in English.
まで東京まで
To Tokyo. Please note that in Japanese, the word for to comes after the place to which it's pointing. Next is the possession marking particle, which is here used to connect to and modify the following word.
の
The phrase meaning to Tokyo
東京まで
modifies ticket.
切符
Together it's
東京までの切符
ticket, which is to Tokyo, or ticket to Tokyo. 5 tickets to Tokyo, please, then is
東京までの切符を5枚ください
the sentence structure is destination plus
までの切符
plus
を
plus number of tickets you want plus
ください
now you try. Say 2 tickets to Kyoto, please.
京都までの切符を2枚ください
Now say 2 tickets to Osaka, please.
大阪までの切符を2枚ください
Do you remember how Yoshi asked about eligibility for child tickets?
子供料金は何歳までですか？
First is the word for child.
子供、
Next is the word for fee.
料金、
Together, child fee or child ticket is.
子供料金
After this is the topic marking particle.
は
Next is the word for what.
何
After this is the word for age.
歳
Here, it acts as a suffix meaning years old. What age or how old, then, is.
何歳
After this is a particle indicating a time limitation. It's equivalent to until or to in English.
まで
When added to the end of the phrase meaning how old, it's.
何歳まで
Literally, what age until. In English, until what age? Following this is the linking verb.
です
And last is the question marking particle.
か子供料金は何歳までですか？
As for a child ticket, until what age is it? More naturally, up until what age can you get a child ticket? The sentence structure to ask what age something is available until, then, is something plus.
は何歳までですか？
Now you try. Usually, in Japan, you don't need to buy a ticket on a bus or a train for a baby. Free or free ticket in Japanese is.
無料無料無料
Ask what age is a free ticket available until.
無料は何歳までですか？
Some restaurants in Japan offer a half-price lunch for children. Half price in Japanese is.
半額半額半額
Ask what age the half price is available until.
半額は何歳までですか？
Do you remember how Yoshi asked for 4 adult tickets and 1 child ticket in the scene?
大人4枚と子供1枚。
First is the word for adult.
大人
In this case, it implies adult ticket, but you can just say adult
大人
to mean adult ticket in the context of buying tickets. Next is a phrase for 4 sheets. In this case, it means 4 tickets.
4枚
4 adult tickets, then, is.
大人4枚
Next is a particle meaning and.
と
After this is the word for child.
子供
Last is a phrase for 1 sheet.
1枚
1 child ticket, then, is.
子供1枚
Together, it's.
大人4枚と子供1枚
4 adult tickets and 1 child ticket. The structure is ticket type, which is.
大人
Or
子供
plus number of tickets you want. Now you try. Ask a ticket clerk to give you 2 adult tickets.
大人2枚
Now ask a ticket clerk to get you 1 adult ticket and 3 child tickets.
大人1枚と子供3枚
When learning a new language, everyone should have an ultimate goal to work towards. Whether you want to be able to connect with a relative, easily order food while traveling, or go somewhere new, having an end goal for your learning can be very motivating. A popular but challenging goal is being able to speak like a native speaker. It's difficult to measure exactly when you reach this goal, and it's not something you can pick up using textbooks alone. So how do you work on making your speech more natural? That's what we're going to look at today. Here are 3 tips to help you practice talking like a native speaker. Number 1, focus on vocabulary. If your goal is to speak like a native, you might be really focused on speaking quickly or using as many complex grammar patterns as possible. But in our native languages, we're not always trying to speak as fast as possible, and we use complex grammar patterns when necessary, not to show off. Vocabulary, however, is extremely important to expressing ourselves naturally. Your choice of words can reveal a lot about you and your understanding of the language. Most learners have had the experience of using a phrasebook or a dictionary to find a word they want to use, trying the word in conversation, and getting a look of confusion from the native speaker. In some cases, although your word choice may be grammatically correct, the word may be inappropriate for the situation or totally unnatural. This is especially important in business and other formal situations, where the right level of formality and professionalism is key. Being able to understand nuances in vocabulary words can also help you understand relationships between people just by listening to the conversation. Try to listen to many different types of conversations. Listen to how people talk to their friends, their superiors, and in customer service situations. This will give you a better idea of how to talk to others naturally. In some languages, you can omit words from sentences or use more direct communication styles. It's important to be aware of these things so you can apply them yourself. Colloquialisms and slang are also commonly used in most languages. As this sort of vocabulary is always evolving, it can be difficult to keep up with the latest words. Talk with native speakers and consume media in your target language to make sure you pick up these kinds of expressions. Media is a great resource for your learning. Ultimately, knowing the appropriate vocabulary to use for each situation will really help you sound more knowledgeable. Number 2, perfect your accent. With every language, there are unique pronunciation and intonation challenges. Some languages are tonal languages, and a change in pitch can completely change the meaning of a word. Then there's the fact that most countries have multiple dialects, and so people from one area of the country may sound different from those in another. So what is the best way to listen to a wide range of accents and different pronunciations? Video and audio resources are a great way to do this. YouTube is a perfect place to start because people from all kinds of different backgrounds upload videos to the platform. You can watch educational videos, daily life vlogs, cooking shows, a travel series, whatever interests you. Pay attention to the different ways people speak. Everyone is unique. And then practice speaking like them. This kind of practice can help you sound more natural. One note, please be aware of the type of resources you're using. For example, if you find a video where a speaker uses a rare dialect, it might not be a good idea to use that for your pronunciation practice, unless you have a special reason for studying a specific accent. As a general rule, it's best to try to search for practice resources that use a standard form of the language you're studying. Number 3, copy what you hear. Do you remember how you learned to speak as a child? We rarely learned new words just listening to them, or reading after we learned how. When we were little kids, we imitated the sounds we heard by repeating the sounds out loud. While you're talking to a friend, watching videos, or listening to audio in your target language, you can do this to try and replicate the way they speak. Doing this will help you work on mastering the flow of the language, your accent, intonation, and pronunciation. Of course, you might also pick up some new vocabulary this way. Make sure to repeat new words often. It's a great way to make sure you remember them. Try doing this using a number of different mediums and sources. That way, you'll be exposed to the diversity that the language offers and master the fundamentals of pronunciation. For example, you can watch and imitate several different YouTube videos and audio CDs, but try a few different sources, like different creators or different audio types, to make sure you experience a wide range of communication in your target language. If you're using our language learning program, you can even get your own teacher with Premium Plus. Your teacher can answer questions, give assignments, and even listen to your recordings and give you advice on pronunciation. Completing these kinds of lessons with a native teacher can really boost your confidence in your speaking skills. Becoming able to speak like a native is a popular goal for many people learning a new language. It feels great to be able to communicate smoothly, especially when the people you're talking to expect basic level sentences or broken communication. Try using the tips we've shared in this video to work on improving your speaking skills. Of course, it'll take time and persistence, but the reward will be more natural communication. And for even more tips on speaking, check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Hi everybody, my name is Lisa. Welcome to the 2000 Core Japanese Words and Phrases video series. Each lesson will help you learn new words, practice, and review what you've learned. Okay, let's get started. First is 感染 infection 感染 infection 皮膚感染 skin infection 皮膚感染インフルエンザ flu インフルエンザインフルエンザ flu インフルエンザの季節 flu season インフルエンザの季節トランペット trumpet トランペットトランペット trumpet トランペットのレッスン trumpet lessons トランペットのレッスン出発ゲート departure gate 出発ゲート出発ゲート departure gate 出発ゲート43 departure gate 43出発ゲート43社会学 sociology 社会学社会学 sociology 都市社会学 urban sociology 都市社会学客室乗務員 flight attendant 客室乗務員客室乗務員 flight attendant 女性の客室乗務員 female flight attendant 女性の客室乗務員座席 seat 座席座席 seat 飛行機の座席 airplane seat 飛行機の座席医学 medicine 医学医学 medicine 彼は大学で医学を学びました。He studied medicine at university. 彼は大学で医学を学びました。エコノミークラス。エコノミークラス。エコノミークラス。エコノミークラス。エコノミークラス。エコノミークラス搭乗券。エコノミークラスティケット。エコノミークラス搭乗券。フライト。フライト。フライト。フライト。フライト。そのフライトは1時間以内に出発します。The flight will leave in 1 hour. そのフライトは1時間以内に出発します。Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. First, you will hear a word or phrase in English. Respond in Japanese, then repeat after me. focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say infection? 感染 感染 and how to say flu? インフルエンザインフルエンザ What about trumpet? トランペットトランペット Do you remember how to say departure gate? 出発ゲート出発ゲート Let's try sociology. 社会学社会学 What about flight attendant? 客室乗務員客室乗務員 Now, let's see if you remember how to say seat. 座席座席 Another one. What about medicine? 医学医学 Do you remember how to say economy class? エコノミークラスエコノミークラス And finally, do you remember how to say flight? フライトフライト Well done! See you next time! またね元日とは年の初めを祝う日です。カレンダーでは1月1日のみが祝日ですが、実際には1日から3日までを三が日と呼び、会社や店によっては休業するところもあります。毎年この時期独特の行事や慣習があります。新たな年になって最初に会った時は、明けましておめでとうございますと挨拶します。元日の朝のことを特別に何と呼ぶでしょうか？正解はこのビデオの最後に紹介します。自宅や海辺、山頂などで初日の出を拝みます。元日の朝食にはお雑煮やおせち料理を食べます。雑煮は餅が入った汁物で、地方や家庭によって味付けが違います。伸びる餅のように命が伸びますようにと長寿を願って食べるのです。おせち料理も健康で無事に一年が過ごせるようにという願いが込められた食べ物です。そして神様から一年の加護をいただくため、晴れ着を着て家族や友人と一緒に初詣に行きます。日本では正月になると前の年にお世話になった人や友人、知人などに年賀状を送る習慣があります。年賀状には新年の挨拶や抱負を書いたり、その年の干支の絵や近況が伝わる写真などを印刷したりします。昔は年の初めに お年始といって知人宅に挨拶に行ったり、反対に知人が訪ねてきたりする習わしがありました。次第に簡素化され、現在の年賀状になったと言われています。子供たちは両親や祖父母、親戚や両親の知人などからお年玉をもらいます。これは正月だけの特別なお小遣いで、子供たちはとっても楽しみにしています。お年玉は紙製のお年玉袋に入れて渡されます。金額の相場は小学生では3000円から5000円くらい、中学生では5000円程度、高校生や大学生になると1万円前後です。一般的に初詣は正月の日中にお参りをしますが、大晦日の深夜0時、前の年から新しい年に切り替わる時間帯に神社をお参りする人もいます。これを2年参りと呼びます。さて、ここでクイズの答えです。正解は元旦です。旦の字は太陽を表す日という漢字の下に、左から右に向かって横棒を1本書きますね。これは地平線から昇りつつある太陽を表しているのです。だから元旦という言葉は1月1日の朝を意味していることになります。いかがでしたか？初めて知ったことはありましたか？皆さんの国ではどのようにお正月をお祝いしますか？ぜひ japanesepod101.com のコメント欄で教えてくださいね。それではまた。
Expand your vocabulary with our core 2,000 words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Japanese ebook before it's gone.